So this is the risk reward here. And there's a guy named Greg Foss, and he calls Bitcoin the greatest asymmetric trade in history. And I've heard him say that a couple times. And I mean, I understand Bitcoin enough, and I can kind of see what he's getting at, but I never really thought about what that means. And I don't know if this is what the actual definition of asymmetric trade is, but to me, this is how I see it. And if you get nothing else from today, this is what you should be paying attention to here. So the asymmetric trade is the risk reward aspect here. So we're going to pretend that 10 years ago today, you put $1,000 worth into Bitcoin. The price on that date, January the 5th, 2014, one Bitcoin was $950. So since between then and now, it has gone up 46 times in the last 10 years. So your risk here, say Bitcoin went to zero, you lose $1,000. I'm sure most people out there have lost $1,000 before. Maybe they've even lost $1,000 out of their wallet one day. So that's the risk here. Not everyday folks like me, but I'm sure some people have lost $1,000 playing the slots or the VLTs one night at the bar, lost $1,000. So that's the risk. It goes to zero. You lose $1,000. But the reward there is if you would have held on for 10 years, if you would have protected that Bitcoin, today it would be worth 46,000 US dollars. And that's the last 10 years. So I understand that it's easier to look back. Everything's easier to see when you know what happens. But, this has all happened with a very small amount of people in Bitcoin and very poor. If you look at Bitcoin 10 years ago versus today and how much has come from it since then with the Lightning Network, with the increase in the network, the hash rate, it is in a much better and a more secure place today than it was then. So that's one aspect of it. But the second thing is that there's a lot of people who say that there's only 0.1% of people who actually hold Bitcoin in the world right now. So this 46x happened with 0.1% of people, and not even the institutions yet. Not even countries or governments are into Bitcoin yet. So if you don't think that this could happen over the next 10 years, as Bitcoin grows, as the network grows, as the adoption and more people get into it, grow, factor that in with the halving and the less supply coming onto the market. I mean, in the next 10 years, this 46x could look like a joke. So ask yourself, what's the risk? That's why he calls it the most asymmetric trade in world history, because the risk is there. Obviously, there's a chance that Bitcoin could be stopped. It could go to zero. But if you're putting $1,000 on the line and it goes to zero, that's only $1,000. But if we follow what's happened and if we can kind of think logically going into the future, is it not worth the potential rewards of 46x or plus? And I don't want this to sound scammy at all, because we don't know what's going to happen, but that's not the point. I'm telling you that it could go to zero, but there's a chance that it goes much higher than that. So that's kind of my advice or my thoughts for today. The Honey Badger in the chat, he says, I'm up 13,000%, but Bitcoin is too risky. It's too volatile. Stay away from it.